Wow, chapter 7
Yeah,
of Magnificent Seven. I mean, talk about throwing you straight into the deep end.
right into it.
They barely even have a moment to like process what's happening before.
Right.
Bam.
Yeah, you're just thrown in.
They're in this crazy,
Teleport.
yeah, it's intense.
It's like darkness and light swirling all around, and you can't tell which way is up or down, and your stomach is doing flips, and
Oh, wow.
you can't even breathe. And
It really emphasizes that feeling of disorientation and complete sensory overload.
yeah,
Like they're not just arriving somewhere new. It's this fundamental disruption of their senses.
absolutely.
Really sets the stage for the kind of trouble they're in.
Yeah, and then they land in this place that is, on one hand,
Right.
unbelievably beautiful. I mean, it's
Herzog.
snow-covered mountains, this like intensely bright sun that's almost blinding, and then these leaves and petals that sparkle like diamonds.
It's almost surreal.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's freezing cold,
Yeah.
like bone-chillingly cold.
It's that contrast, you know.
That makes it so unsettling. You've got this stunning visual beauty, but then this harsh, unforgiving reality of the environment.
Right. It's like, yeah, it's beautiful, but you're going to freeze to death.
Exactly.
And that whole beautiful scenery thing kind of goes out the window
Totally.
when they realize what's happened to Alivor.
Oh, yeah. That's a rough one.
I mean, he's just lying there completely still, and there's blood everywhere.
It's brutal.
Like his arms are just gone.
Really highlights the real cost of this mission so far.
Yeah.
You know, they're not playing games anymore.
Right.
And then Ekene says she can stabilize him, but she can't heal that
Right.
kind of injury.
It's like this immediate sense of, oh, this is bad.
Oh, yeah. They're way out of their depth.
And on top of that, Cal is missing.
Of course, the one person they need right now.
Right. The wizard who was supposed to get them out of there.
Exactly. And Darren is basically like, well, if he's stuck back in Tristretch after that teleport, he's probably toast.
Yeah, that's not what you want to hear when you're already stranded in a freezing wasteland.
Not at all. It just adds to the feeling of hopelessness.
And then there's Cortland.
Right. Initially, he just seems kind of shaken up.
Yeah, he's just kneeling in the snow, shivering.
Yeah.
And Talia goes to help him up.
Seems minor at the time.
Yeah. But it's like this little hint that something's not right.
Right. Foreshadowing for what happens later.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
So once the initial shock wears off, they have to figure out where they even are.
Of course.
And it turns out Ezra knows this area.
Really?
Yeah, he says they're high up on the south side of the Marble Peak, and you can tell by the thin air and how they're all struggling to breathe, they're really high up.
So he becomes their guide then?
In a way. But it gets even more interesting because then he drops this bombshell about his past.
Oh, what's that?
Get this. He's actually the Lord of Caer Frostwalk.
Wow, a lore.
But he was exiled because of all this political intrigue and a coup led by his own brother.
That's rough.
And to make matters worse, his father was murdered by a vampire lord. And they think it might have even been Cillian Lauren, the one they just ran into.
The plot thickens.
Seriously.
So this mission, it's not just a job for him anymore.
No way.
It's personal
Oh, yeah.
revenge and maybe even getting back his home.
Exactly. Which, of course, raises all sorts of questions about who they can trust in this new place.
Right. Especially anyone in a position of authority.
Yeah. Darren is like, well, who are our reliable contacts here? Because the political situation seems pretty messy.
Good point, because Ezra's noble lineage could help them, but his exile also makes him a target.
Right. It's a tricky situation.
Totally.
But D-Max is like, hold on. We need to get Alivor help now.
Practical as always.
He's not about to get sidetracked by royal family drama when someone's life is on the line.
Right. Focus on the immediate crisis.
Yeah. So he's like, where can we find a healer? And thankfully, Ezra knows of this place called the Petalus Temple.
Okay, so they have a destination.
Yeah. They make this makeshift stretcher for Alivor and start heading down the mountain towards this temple.
Hoping for some kind of miracle.
Pretty much. But when they get to the Petalus Temple, it's not exactly what you'd picture.
What do you mean?
It's less of a serene temple and more like a fortress.
A fortress.
Yeah, it's got this huge granite shield wall and massive white marble walls.
Sounds intimidating.
Yeah, it definitely makes you wonder about the people who live there.
For sure.
So Ezra, knowing things could be tricky, decides to approach the priests cautiously.
Makes sense.
And he even tries using his brother's name, Jonathan Amberson, hoping it might help.
Trying to leverage any connection he can.
Right. But Prima Adrian, the head priest, he's not fooled so easily.
No.
He's polite at first, but you can tell he's suspicious.
What makes him suspicious?
Well, Ezra's been gone for 4 years, missing all the important winter rituals.
Right.
And now he shows up with this ragtag group of injured strangers.
Yeah, that's going to raise some eyebrows.
Definitely. And D-Max being D-Max is like, okay, let's cut to the chase. Alivor's dying. We need help now.
No time for subtleties.
Nope. And it works, but in a weird way.
How so?
The second Adrian hears the name Ezra, his whole demeanor changes.
Oh, so they know him.
Yeah. And he agrees to help, but it's awkward.
Like there's some bad blood there.
Yeah, you can tell there's a whole backstory we don't know yet.
Oh, intriguing.
While all this is happening, Talia quietly slips away.
Why?
D-Max asked her to check on Cortland, who'd been kind of MIA since they arrived.
Oh, right. He was acting strange.
And this is where things get really weird.
Oh, no. What happened?
So Talia backtracks and finds Cortland's footprints veering off the main path.
Okay.
And they lead her to this cliff edge.
A cliff edge?
Yeah, and the scene there is just bizarre.
What do you mean?
It's like a bunch of jumbled footprints as if someone was rolling around or struggling.
Okay, that's creepy.
And then just one set of footprints leading right to the edge of the cliff and stopping.
Like he just walked off the edge.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Kalia's freaking out. She thinks he fell.
Understandably so.
So she climbs down the super dangerous slope to search the valley below. But she finds nothing. No body, no blood, no sign of him at all.
He just vanished.
It's like he disappeared into thin air.
That's unsettling, especially in a world with magic. You can't rule anything out.
Exactly. Back at the temple, things aren't going any better for Alivor.
What happened?
Ecne and Danton talk to the healers, and the news is not good.
How bad is it?
They say Alivor's soul has been severed.
Severed.
Yeah, they can treat his physical injuries, but mending a severed soul that's beyond their abilities.
So he's basically doomed.
Well, they mention this guy, Lord Saladin, who might be powerful enough to heal him.
Okay, so there's a glimmer of hope.
Maybe, but get this. Lord Saladin has been missing for years.
Oh, so even if he could help, they have to find him first.
Exactly, and Ecne just loses it at this point.
Makes sense. She's been through a lot.
Yeah, she's frustrated and grieving, and she ends up lashing out at Danton.
At Danton.
Yeah, she's like, you're responsible for all of this.
Wow, blaming him for everything.
It's like she needs someone to blame for all the bad stuff that's happened.
I can see how that would happen in a situation like this.
Right, but Danton's like, well, hold on, I was the one they were trying to kill. Remember?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But Ecne isn't really listening. She's convinced he's some kind of double agent or something.
Oh, wow. So now they have trust issues on top of everything else.
Yeah, D-Max tries to calm things down.
Good old D-Max, always trying to keep the peace.
He reminds Ecne that they weren't exactly tricked into going to Tristretch, and that Danton was a victim too.
Trying to appeal to reason.
Yeah, it kind of works. Ecne backs down, but she's still giving Danton the side eye.
That distrust is going to be hard to shake.
And then she's like, wait, where's Cortland?
Yeah, they haven't seen him in a while.
And right at that moment, Talia comes back, looking completely exhausted.
Oh, no. Did she find him?
Nope. She tells him she searched everywhere, but there's no trace of him.
So he's still missing.
And then things take a turn for the seriously creepy.
What happened?
The room seems to get darker, and there are these shadows flickering, and then suddenly Cortland just appears.
He just pops back in.
Out of nowhere.
Okay, but that doesn't sound good.
It's not good. He's covered in blood and these awful-looking wounds like deep gouges, and you can even see his bone.
Oh, God, that's horrific.
And his eyes are wide with terror. He's clearly traumatized.
Yeah, that's more than just getting lost.
He starts rambling about how he'll never teleport again, how it felt like he was being dragged to hell.
Oh, wow.
And he keeps saying he shouldn't even be alive.
This is getting really dark.
Yeah, and then he talks about these shadows, these demons or something that attacked him during the teleport.
Aliens.
That's what he calls them. And he says they're still clinging to him.
Oh, that's not good.
And he was seeing things too, like faces and clothes morphing into these grotesque shapes.
Sounds like some serious psychological trauma.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the teleport ripped him through some kind of nightmare realm or something.
That's seriously disturbing.
He even explains why he ran away from the priests. He was afraid they'd find out he's a homunculus.
He's a what?
A homunculus, it's basically an artificially created being.
Oh, wow, that adds a whole other layer to this.
Yeah, and he claims these shadows actually stopped him from jumping off the cliff.
What?
Yeah, like they wouldn't let him die.
That's messed up.
His last words before he collapses are just this desperate accusation about Cal's teleport.
Blaming him for everything.
And then he passes out.
So they're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah, and a whole lot of fear.
Makes sense.
So after that whole horrifying scene, D-Max asks Prima Adrian for sanctuary.
Smart move. They need a safe place right now.
Yeah, and Adrian agrees, but you can tell he's worried and curious about what they're going to do next.
He's probably starting to realize they're not just random travelers.
Right. So the team huddles up, and Ezra steps up as the leader.
It seems like he's really coming into his own.
Yeah, he's like, okay, we need to contact our employer, hopefully get paid.
Practicalities.
Then we need to head to Care Ice Walk for supplies and information.
Okay.
And for Ezra, he's determined to go back to Frostwalk, reclaim his title, and find out what happened to Lord Salatum.
So they have a plan.
A plan full of dangerous unknowns.
As always.
And then D-Max is like, hey, any chance you have some spare magical items lying around?
Bold move.
And surprisingly, Adrian is like, yeah, sure, follow me.
No way.
Yeah, he takes them down to the temple vaults and gives each of them a magical gift.
What kind of gifts?
Well, Talia gets this thing called Observer's Boon, which lets her shapeshift into a cat once a day.
Cool.
Ezra gets a Clarity Crystal, which gives him a +3 bonus to an intelligence or wisdom check once every 3 days.
Handy.
Egni gets a spear that's both a +1 weapon and can cast Spiritual Weapon.
That's awesome.
Darren gets a Ring of Targeting, which builds up a bonus to hit and damage every time he misses an attack.
Interesting.
D-Max gets an Azure Stone Amulet that lets him take an extra action or bonus action once per long rest.
That could be a game changer.
And even Danton gets a mirror that gives him a +2 bonus to performance and persuasion checks once every 2 days.
Wow, Adrian is really hooking them up.
I know, right? Talk about a parting gift.
So they're better equipped now, but still facing a ton of danger.
Oh yeah, this chapter was a wild ride, wasn't it?
A total roller coaster.
We had a disastrous teleport with Alivor nearly dying and Cal disappearing and Ezra's crazy backstory and the whole mess in Frostwalk.
And that's not even mentioning the creepy encounter at the temple and Cortland's terrifying experience.
Seriously.
It feels like a turning point in the story.
Absolutely.
They're in way over their heads now.
And we got some big reveals, too.
Oh, yeah. Like Ezra's true identity and the fact that his homeland is basically run by vampires now.
And then Cortland's whole ordeal with those shadows.
That was intense.
It's like the story just took a hard left turn into horror territory.
For sure.
Hopefully this deep dive helps you make sense of all the craziness.
Yeah, we tried to break it down and focus on what happened to Alivor and Cal and Ezra and especially Cortland after that teleport.
Right, we wanted to show you just how messed up their situation is now.
And all the new questions they have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like, who are these Ivory Lords and what's their deal?
And what happened to Lord Sullivan?
And the big one, what are those shadow things that attacked Cortland?
Right, are they just some side effect of the messed up teleport, or are they something more sinister?
Yeah, and how are they going to deal with that on top of everything else?
It's a lot to think about.
Definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Huh. So what do you think is going on with those shadows?
I don't know. It's hard to say, but they seem connected to the teleport somehow.
Yeah, but what if it's more than that? What if there's something that's been lurking out there all along, just waiting for an opportunity?
That's a scary thought.
Yeah, and how are they going to fight something they don't even understand?
That's the question, isn't it?
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this.
No doubt about it.
This is definitely a turning point for the Magnificent Seven.
For sure. Their whole mission just got a lot more complicated.
And a whole lot more dangerous.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me neither.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep those theories coming.
We love to hear them.
We'll be back soon with more Magnificent Seven badness.
Can't wait.